Hey y'all, Trisha here. So today I want to talk to you about what are the top 5 concerns that most people have about retiring early. You know, it's going to be different for each one of us, but based on my findings and my readings and my research, these are the top 5 things that early retirees need to either confront, address, or are somehow impacted by during early retirement. So the ones that I'm going to talk to you about are not necessarily all 5 that have affected me, but a couple have. And so just wanted to share with you what I think are, some things to look forward to or look out for during the next phase of your life, which is called early retirement. So one of the biggest concerns that most people have in early retirement is medical cost. We don't have many very good options for retirees that retire before they're able to get Medicare. So that's 65, I believe, for everybody. So if you retire anytime before 65, you have to essentially put that into your budget that you're going to need to pay for that. Well, like I had mentioned in one of my other videos, which you can watch regarding HSAs as well as some of the options for medical coverage, what I've found is that because you're retiring early, you probably have a good handle on your money. And so if you're able to keep your income low, at least under $100,000, you will get significant subsidies through the Affordable Care Act. So not sure if that's going to last, the entire time of our early retirement, but I know for 2025, that's at least going to save my family at least $1,200 a month. That's kind of what I'm getting right now as a subsidy. So, and that's just really controlling my income. And so those are some of the things that you need to think about when retiring early. And it's not to scare you off. It's really just to make sure that you have a plan for it. And you can run the calculators on the various ACA websites to see what yours would be. But if you can keep your income under 100 and still, live a fulfilled life, you probably can get insurance, health insurance, pretty cheap. Mine right now is $248 a month. Now, there is a downside to that because it doesn't cover really anything outside of a few standard procedures. In fact, I ran a query on ChatGPT and said, what's covered underneath my basic plan? And there's not very much. There's a couple of routine exams for my husband. I think it was like a physical for me. The women visits, but that's pretty much it. So you have to go into it knowing that you have to have money set aside in case something happens and that you're able to afford whatever that deductible is. So that's the only downside to it. Another thing that people fear in early retirement is running out of money. Are your investments in safe investments, or are they in a little bit more risky, volatile investments that may go up really high or may go down pretty low? So like I had mentioned previously, my feeling is that now that I'm in early retirement, I've won. I've already won the prize. And so now it's a matter of maintaining and making sure that I try to at least get better than inflation. So for me, I don't put all of my eggs in one basket. I have a variety of different investments. And I think that gives me a little bit better feeling that, if something goes south, that it's not all gonna hit rock bottom. I've tried to, diversify in what I invest in. I don't invest very many specific stocks unless they're more in my kind of growth area. So I have a section of mine that I would say is probably 20% that is more aggressive, because that's what I feel I will be leaving to my children. And I want that to grow, and I want that to be invested in Google, in Amazon, in Palantir, some fast growing companies that I believe will do well in the future. But for me, for what I might need in my future, I try to put that in more stable S&P 500 investments. And even some of it is in bonds, and a good portion of it is in a high yield savings account or brokerage account, because that really has to bridge my income until I'm of age to start taking Social Security or start taking my pension. So that is a big fear. It's a valid fear that people think that, if they may run out of money. And if you are somebody that's retiring early and depending on that money to live off of, you should put it in something that's relatively safe. One of the other worries that early retirees have, and it's a valid worry, is not having anybody to do anything with. If you're early retiree and nobody in your circle is in the same position, then you're not really able to spend any time with them. And that's kind of a bummer, but you end up filling it with people that can. And for me, I'm blessed to have my parents around, so I spend a majority of my time with them, and that was the whole purpose behind me retiring. So I'm okay with it for right now, but I'm also trying to be more flexible in terms of when my friends do have time off and can do things, because I love traveling. I want to travel as much as I can. And so anybody in my circle that is able to travel, I want to travel with them, or able to, go do, fun things on weekends, I want to go with. So I don't think it's a really big concern, but I know people worry that, if I'm around and nobody else is around, I'm going to be bored. Well, I haven't encountered that yet. So I don't really think it's too big of a worry. The fourth worry that most retirees have, early retirees, is being bored or losing their significance based on the value that they used to provide to their company. And I think that you do have to make a concerted effort to stay relevant, to, encourage your mind to grow, whether it's through reading or learning something new, or in my circumstance, I love technology. So this whole new AI movement, I'm trying to see how I can utilize it to help me in my life, help automate some of the things that, become daunting tasks that I'd prefer not to do. Or even like I was thinking today, I end up taking my parents to doctor's appointments, and I would like to remember what happened at that doctor appointment. So really utilizing Siri and telling her to make an entry in my calendar for what happened, and then to set a reminder or a tag for who it was with and what it was about. So with my mom at the doctor's, so that I can look back at my calendar and make sure that I keep track of all those things that, are things that I would actually have to sit down and write about. So there are other things that, I'm very interested in using AI for. It can replace a lot of the really tedious work that we do. And for example, if I'm project managing a big project, and I need to make sure that everybody remains on task and the due dates don't slip, then I'm having to correspond with people and ensuring that they fulfill their part of the project. And so you can utilize AI to keep track of all of that and send out the reminders and ensure that, people are taking care of what they need to take care of. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's stimulating. I think it's fulfilling. But everybody has their own niche. You might be somebody who loves, a musical instrument. And so if you can indulge in things that bring you joy, you will not be bored. I have not 1 second been bored. And quite honestly, I often think about how incredibly lucky I am. I absolutely love it, and I don't feel that I'm missing out on anything, and I'm definitely not bored. So the last worry that I think most early retirees have is worrying that because they're here, present, around, that other people are going to start assigning them jobs, tasks, work. And really that's up to you, and that's under your control. If you want to be the daily pickup, drop off, or the after school lunch for your children or grandchildren, that's completely up to you. But I don't think that worry is something that, you have to do. It's definitely a volunteer position, and you shouldn't be guilted into taking on that role if that's not something that you want. I'm hopeful that I get a good 5 years of early retirement before my children have children. And then I want to be everything to them. I want to be involved in all of it. I want to help out. I want to take them on trips. I was blessed to have a mom that did everything with my daughter and my stepson. So I am blessed to have that in my life. And I want to return that same blessing to my children, to be present, to be active, to be supportive, and to take a little bit of the burden off of the parents so that they can, also focus on their careers and their relationships. So that is also a worry that some early retirees have, is having to do things that they necessarily don't want to, and they did not retire to do that. But that is completely under your control, and if you don't want to, we've got to learn that word no, and don't do it. So these are the 5 things that I found that most early retirees worry about, and I think they're valid concerns, but they're in no shape or form bad or, something you should fear. They're not overwhelming. They just need to be considered, and then you need to have a plan of what you're going to do when you encounter them. So hope that helps somebody out there. Hopefully, you get an opportunity to retire early. I do have in the comments below, or in the description below, a link to my Calendarly appointments. If you're interested in just talking to somebody regarding your plan and your efforts, like I mentioned, I'm living the life. I did it, with obviously a village. My whole, everybody I encounter has, assisted in some fashion in my life. But the planning, the financial discipline, the investments, all that was, things that I was interested in and things that I did to position me to be able to retire early. So I know a lot of people just want a sounding board or want some insight as to where they need to start or where they should focus. If that's you, please click for an appointment below, and I would be glad to talk to you. And hopefully everybody else is doing well, and talk soon. Bye.